Good evening, all. If you can hear me clearly, if you can hear me clearly, if you can hear me clearly, please just type in yes. If you can hear me clearly and see my screen, please type in yes so that we can start off. If you can hear me clearly and see my screen, please type in yes into the chat box so that we can start off. Good evening, all. You're welcome to this trade plan with Great White FX for the Forex markets. If you can hear me clearly and you can see my screen, please type in yes. Good evening, all. You're welcome. Okay, so without taking much of your time, let's start off with what we have for tomorrow. As always, the first thing we start with is our fundamental news release, because for you to trade, you need to be aware of the scheduled news release for your day, for the trading day, so that you don't take a trade into that period when the markets are being expected, when the news release is being expected. So tomorrow is 11th, which is Wednesday, and the major news we have is this Euro meetings, card employment change, and unemployment rate. So that's what we have tomorrow, Friday. That's just the major news. All the other major news, they've all taken place today. So, and all those news, they are coming in from 1:30 p.m. West African time. So now going into our charts, we start with the dollar index. So going into our chart, if we look at the dollar index, we can see that the dollar index closed bearish today. But the deal is it is sitting above this support. It's sitting above this support structure here. So if we go into our charts on the dollar index, if we go into our chart on the dollar index, it's sitting above the support here. This is the area here. It's still sitting there, so as you can see. So looking at this pair, you see this area, price broke this trend line. See, there's a trend line here. Let me go back to my file. This 4-hour trend line was broken to the downside. And if you notice, price dropped, tested it, and closed bearish. Now, the deal is, there's a possibility it might pull up a bit. There's a brief possibility that you may see price pull up a bit. But should that happen, I'm trying to get rid of all this so that I can draw the scenario, because we might see a bit of dollar weakness, but we just need to be, for now, he's still above support. So you might see a bit of a pullback. The only time you'll be safe to see dollar weakness is when you see it drops, comes in here, and then moves lower. That's the only time you could see you have dollar weakness. If not, because if you look at it, as long as it's sitting above here, it has a tendency to pull back up a bit. It has a tendency to still pull back up a bit. So the next pair we're going to look at is gold. So looking at gold, Gold is looking bearish, closed bearish today, closed bearish today. So let's look at gold from our intraday level, intraday chart buyer. So gold came close to this area, then dropped. So now, and in the process of dropping, it broke this small trend line here. So now the question is, there's structure here that it's standing above. So there is the possibility that you may see a bit of a pullback. Is this a possibility that you may see something like this? Then before it comes back down. But should gold go above this area, then you know this is what you might likely see on gold. So for now, it is tilted to the downside, but it's at a prior structure area. So we need to just watch and see what plays out here. So the next pair we're going to look at is USD So looking at the USD this pair is still pointing higher. It's still slightly pointing higher. And it seems like it has decoupled, but I'll go into that. So looking at this trend line held. There's a trend line here, the trend line held. Excuse me. So looking at the USD if you look at this carefully, there's a pattern. You just need to a little bit of you need a little bit of experience to be able to see. There's a W formation here. There's a W formation. If this is not very clear, this is clearer here. Do you see this formation? This is clearer. This is not very clear, but the formation is taking place. So now, if you notice here, they've not been able to close above this level for some time. Now you have a 4-hour close above it. So there exists the potential. Let me get rid of this. We might be seeing higher moves on this pair because the daily is supporting it, as you can see. Long lower week, very, very long lower week. So you might see price do this tomorrow. You might see price try to pull in here. If this area holds as support, price will move higher. But should they break below it, then this is a possible scenario on this pair. But looking at this pair critically, they might move higher because this area has served as resistance. So they've broken it. So what you might just see is a break. You have a break already. You need to see a pullback and continuation. So the next pair we're going to look at is the Euro USD. So looking at the Euro USD, well, it's a strange thing, but strange things happen these days. Logically, in trading, the Euro USD and the USD CHF, they do not move in the same direction. But for some reasons, they've decoupled. So that was why I was saying there's a bit of decoupling. So now you see this Euro USD, it's bullish. As you can see, it's close bullish above this structure area here. You can see for some days, this 1.0996 has rejected price. Anytime price comes there, price has broken. Price has always been rejected. So with this move now, if you go to your intraday chart, you could see there's a bit of a pullback. So on this pair, let me get rid of this. So on this pair, what you're expecting is this level here is the level you have here. On retest, it has to hold. And as you can see, this channel too has been broken. Do you see it? So probably price may retest this channel and this area. The two, they need to hold for price to continue higher. But if they fail, then you might see something like this. So that's just the game plan on this pair. That's just game plan. So the next pair we're going to look at is the Euro GBP. Euro GBP was crazy today. Crazy today. It didn't come as a surprise to me, because if you understand structure and the way structure works, you would have known this was bound to happen. So let's go into our chart. And this was our chart for yesterday. This was the area I marked out yesterday. I posted the chart on the Instagram channel and on Facebook. You see when price ran in there, immediately ran in there, it dropped straight up. This trade, you would not have caught on the 4 hour, you would have missed it. So most times, if you mark up your chart using my levels, you can watch it from the 1 hour. And if you were watching it from the 1 hour, this is where you would have entered from. And you would have made this move down. I entered from somewhere around here. So let's look at this pair now. So what do we have on this pair now? With this big drop, most often from experience, whenever price does this, they don't drop straight up the following day. What they normally do is they do a bit of a correction. So what you're going to do is, here I can't actually give levels because I might be, anything can happen. So on only the candle of yesterday, you put a fib, then you watch for retracement. That's just the only thing you can do. You don't try to do anything else. You just put a fib from the top, fib retracement to the low. Then you wait for it to pull back. The levels you'll be watching is a 31.8, 38.2 to the 61.8. And if you look at this already, the 61.8 is lining up with this zone here. So this is where you might be waiting to see what happens when price gets to that level. So that's just the best thing you can do on this pair. Because for now, the big drop today, the drop today was way big. It exceeded its average daily range. That drop was almost 189 pips. If you look at the daily, the only time you've had a candle like that is somewhere here. Somewhere here. So it may continue down because it has broken this daily channel, but you might see a bit of a pullback to test this trend line. It may happen tomorrow. It may not happen tomorrow. So you just need to be slightly aware of that. For the Euro GBP, that's just what you need to be aware. So it might pull up a bit to test this broken trend line, then before going back down. So you might just see something like this. If it holds, then it's going to go back down. So that's just it for this pair tomorrow. So the next pair we're looking at is the GBP USD. Same thing too for the GBP USD. Same setup for the GBP USD. Same setup for the GBP USD. This pair, I would like to, it broke this trend line. There's a trend line here. It broke it to the downside, broke back above it. So this trend line will remove it. This falling resistance trend line has been broken, but it's still active because price may still come down to test it. So now, where price is, like I said on the Euro GBP, the same principle will apply here. Fast moves like these are not new to the fast moves like this is not new to GBP pairs. But because of the way it has happened, all you just need to do is the same system. Because you're expecting a bullish continuation, you move from the left to the right. So you just wait for pullback to any of these levels. And if we look at this from the daily point of view, you see there's structure here. So you might likely see it drop down to that structure, and that is at 1.2405. So let's go to our intraday chart. That's somewhere here. So it might drop to this level, might drop lower. So that's just it. I can't see much on this pair because the move, I can't pick up. The structure I'm going to pick up is further down here. But it may drop lower, but I can't see. And I don't want to preempt anything. The same thing too with the GBP CHF. Almost all the GBP pairs, they just made the move. This was not a surprise because this was sitting at a support structure. GBP CHF was not a surprise. I sent this out to some of you in the group today that there is a W formation here. Do you see it? This is not, it's not very clear, but this was what they were doing. And after that, what happened? They took off. So now this pair also, excuse me, I'm trying to start something here. This pair also the same setup. Same setup. You can just go to the daily. When you go to the daily on your chart, you go from left to right. If you want, you can pick this low, but your interest is only on this big daily candle. So once you've done that, you go back to your file and then you wait for pullback. You just wait for pullback, a retracement. That's all you can do. It may drop to test this trend line. You may see price drop to test this trend line before moving back up. But if it goes down below this level and test it, then you may see it move lower. And you know tomorrow is Friday. There's a possibility it may continue up, and there's a possibility those that did this buying may take profit and price may drop a bit. So that's it for the GBP CHF. The next pair we'll look at is the USD JPY. So looking at the USD JPY, USD JPY is already, seems to have broken this. We have a kind of trend line here. It's not properly drawn. Seems to have shifted. So let me get this properly drawn. I'll pick this high here. Yep, this breakout, I could still leave it because it didn't close above. So that's where price is now. You see, basically that's where price is. And here you have two trend lines. You have this one, and then you have this to this area here. So you see, you have two trend lines here. So if we go to our intraday chart, like yesterday, I said this pair has the potential to drop. The drop was very steep, but do you see immediately it dipped, it took off again. So now I'll get rid of this, and likely scenarios, please, areas of interest on this pair. We'll just have to look for some of them now. My trading view seems to be doing a lot of magic. Sometimes I delete this, but by the time I come back, I see them again. So now this pair has taken off. This pair has taken off. So there's a possibility he's going to move higher. So if you look at this pair on the daily, let's see how he's looking like. Huh? The same thing too. The same thing too. You could also pick from this low to this high. The same principle. Then you go down to your 4-hour because he has a big bullish close. Then you just wait so that you know that any pullback you just see is a correction to move higher. Any pullback you see is a correction to move higher. So you need to be aware of that. So the next pair we're going to look at is the Euro Yen. And this Euro Yen was, I called this trade yesterday. This trade was very, very clean, very, very clean trade because bullish engulfing, and then the next minute price took up. So if we look at this from the daily, we already have something like this here. Then let me see, do I have a falling trend line on the daily? Yes, I have a falling trend line on the daily. And price is not so far from it. So let's go and look at what we have on our intraday chart. This channel has given way. That's part of my problem with this with this trading view. I don't know why it does this. Some of these things are removed, but I come back and I still see them. So if we pick this trend line, even this trend line, I've extended this trend line, anytime I come back, I find out that the trend line has reduced. Starting to suspect this trading view. So these were prices, and there's a lot of resistance structure there. So this, I'll get rid of this. So this where price is at the moment. So now the storyline is this. This pair may drop a bit before moving higher, because if you look at him from the daily, he has a bullish close. He has a bullish close. So that's what you just need to be aware of. Or it might just drop a bit. So the storyline is, if it goes back below 118.52, that's this level here, then that means it might drop lower. But if it uses this 1.11870 to 118.52, this area may serve as support. Then it might move higher. Because if you look at it from the daily, he has a bullish close on the daily and also above the 13 moving average on the daily. So if you ask me, if you want to take a shot on this pair, just see what happens there, because this trend line is not so far. So the next pair we're going to look at is the GBP-JPY. So looking at the GBP-JPY, the same structure too. All the GBP pairs took off very, very heavy today. I've been suspecting that they will do that, given the way they were holding their lows. They were not breaking the lows, they were holding the lows. So these are some things when you're looking at the chart. The way price reacts or plays around the level will tell you what the intentions of the market is. So if we look at this GBP, you see the same thing too. Very, very big move. Very, very big move. So logically, the same thing too. You take your fib from left to right. Same thing too, you just do it on your daily to avoid, because it may pull back. There's a possibility it may pull back. But it doesn't mean you can't take the pullback. Well, if you're taking the pullback, you know you're counter trending and you need to be very, very sharp and fast about it. You know, most often you're counter trending, and when you're counter trending, you do not always go in with your full lots, so that if it goes bad, you can survive the story by moving in line with the trend. So we have this, you see these areas that have been acting as resistance before. So these are potential areas of interest if price starts to drop. So these areas now, I mean, supposed to clean that. So here, so this area might play support. This area might play support should price pull back to it. Might play support should price pull back to it. We already have something here. So you're either watching any of these levels for price. So that's just it. I can't say much on this, but you just need to watch it yourself, because it may drop really low, it may not. I can't see. So the next pair we're going to look at is the AUD-USD. And the AUD-USD is a magical mover. Pointed out this zone yesterday. You see, they tested it and then they took off. So now the question is, what do we do with this pair now? This pair, I think this is a flag formation. It's a flag formation. There's a flag formation. You can see, this is a bullish flag. So it might just drop a bit and take off. It needs to do this. You move above 0.6776. That's you move above here to send price higher. But for now, if you look at it, carefully, it's a bullish flag, and it has broken to the top side, which points to the possibility of further upward movement. Let's look at how he closed on the daily as well. so that we get an idea. Oh, it's bullish. So he might challenge this area tomorrow. The next pair we're going to look at is the Euro AUD. Looking at the Euro AUD, Euro AUD is looking undecisive. This pair has the potential to drop, but it has not moved well for some days now. As you can see, it's hugging this area. So I can't say for this pair. So what I would say for this pair is if it runs in here and drops out, it might come down here. Or overnight, you might see a move down here. Because if you look at it a little bit closer, you will notice there's a sort of small trend line here. And that's what they are expecting. Do you see? Anytime they come there, they go back up. So until they break this trend line, then you might see further weakness on this pair. But note, this up move, this up bias still holds. Sorry. This potential still holds should they break to the top side. So these are some of the things we need to watch out for in this pair. So the last but not the least is USD CAD. USD CAD tapped this area again, didn't go above it, dropped. So now he's sitting above this area that I noticed that was highlighted. So the question now is, looking at this, and there's card news tomorrow, yes. So we just need to be a little bit cautious with this pair because this pair has the potential to retrace whatever he loses. That's one thing I've noticed with this pair. If this pair loses, if he drops 40 pips, most times when news comes out, he will correct everything. I've seen it happen severally. So you need to be careful with this pair. So this is the storyline with this pair. If it comes in here and gets rejected, he may come down, something like this. But if he does this, then you might see a move higher. Because this area now is holding us support. So that is it for today's currency outlook. I thank you all for taking your time to attend. The video will be posted on the YouTube channel, Plan Your Trade, Trade Your Plan. And the charts will be posted on the Instagram page, that's our Great White FX, and on Facebook. So I thank you all for coming. I wish you all a beautiful trading day ahead and a blessed weekend ahead. Thank you. Good night.